Hi, it's been a while. It's actually been almost a year. And I don't mean that as a joke, saying that it's new year. I mean that and literally I've not posted a video in about 11 months. So let's kick it off with one of my favorite shows, Mob Psycho 100. As we get into the new year, I like to get into a sort of a groove where I reflect on the last 22 years of my life. I'm just like, what have we done that's correct? And then I compare it to all the things that I want to still do. And it's a little uneven, but we're still growing. And I think Mob Psycho 100 does a really good job of doing that. It is one of my favorite shows. It is a slice of life. If you haven't seen it, it's a slice of life show. And it's really just about this middle schooler Mob who wants to confess to his crush. I forgot her name, Tsubami-chan. And the story is just, it devolves from there. So the actual story itself, Mob wanting to confess to crush and be popular with girls. Actual story is just like criminal organizations and other psychopaths getting in his way because he is a psychic. And the slice of life story turns into anything but the ordinary, which I really love it when they do that. I try to do that in my own book, Prism. Didn't work out as well, but I definitely tried. As much as I like to keep this video chipper and bright and bouncy, I think that I'm going to go in a little more serious tone here with the messaging for Mob Psycho, which is basically 3 big messages of you are not special, your life is your own, and then learning to accept yourself. And I feel like these are 3 things that we can carry into the next year going forward to achieve the shit that we want to do. So the very first words you're hit with in Mob Psycho in the opening is, if everyone is not special, maybe you can be who you want to be. Now, the phrase, you are not special, that does hurt. That does hurt a little bit. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but those words actually, they hurt a little bit. But really what all it means is just do not have a big ego and be narcissistic. That's all that is trying to get at. And we see that with the villains in Mob Psycho Season 1 with Teru and also with Claw, and how they use the idea that they are good at being psychics as a way to be like, I am the best there is, therefore I am going to, I deserve, I am entitled to this. When no one is special. Just like, as Reagan always says, just like someone's being good at psychic abilities, another person may be better at running than you or smarter than you. So that's all that the you're not special is trying to get at. So like, while it is important to remain humble, it's also important to recognize that you are the only you out there and that makes you special enough as it is. Keep you drop this, kings and queens. So while Season 1's opening starts with, if everyone is not special, Season 2's opening ends with your life is your own. And Season 2 really juggles the idea of that everyone is a protagonist of their own lives, which may seem a little contradictory to the first season's messaging, but trust me, it is not, and we'll get to that. Season 2 also deals with self-respect versus empathy a lot, and really kind of juggling the idea of when is it being empathetic and being kind to someone, and also when is it someone taking advantage of that empathy and kindness. I feel like a lot of media, and especially anime, takes like this weird male protagonist stoicism where harsh things happen to people and they close themselves off and become more edgy. And that works sometimes, and the through line and the logic is there. But I think that Mob Psycho does it very well with the dream sequence. In the dream sequence, Mob is on his way to doing that, to being closed off and to being more edgy and becoming kind of more of a villain. But then thanks to Dimple, he's able to realize that everyone is living in that same cruel world you are. To be fair, more people are luckier with their circumstances and whatnot, but they're still living in the same world as you. And it is much harder to open yourself up and to still be kind and show empathy to others who can also recognize that other people can experience bad things, and at the same, not closing yourself off and distancing yourself. Like, that is a lot harder to do. Now, you want to be empathetic, but at the same time, you don't really want to let people walk over you. And Mob also struggles with this in Season 2, and he learns more to stand up for himself, like when he has to exercise that family and he really, really doesn't want to. And so Even Reigen acknowledges that, wow, Mob is standing up for himself in a way that he hasn't done with me before, and they don't end up exercising the family. Mogami even comes back in the last act of the second season to tell Mob that kindness isn't always going to work and that sometimes you will need to be hard on people. Mob obviously struggles with these two extremes, but is able to find balance and walk in between them when he fights Seiichiro, and where he understands that he won't be able to reason with him with words. He obviously fights him, but at the same time still has the empathy at the end to make sure that he doesn't want him to die alone. But this is also shown with Mob's interaction with the Umbrella Man, and how he was being taken advantage of and being walked all over, and how that was not a good thing. And for me, it is a hard balance to strike between empathy and self-respect. And Mob even recognizes this in talking about how, like, so long as you are making the important decisions yourself in your life, you are the main protagonist of your own life. As long as you are making the important decisions yourself. And I've struggled with this recently, the idea of self-respect versus empathy and learning to forgive. And it is a hard line to walk. And really, it's just, I'm a very rational and logical person. I try to think things through, and this is one of the few times where, like, it's really just a gut call. Like, it is, for me at least, a huge gut call as to whether or not something is just not feeling right, or boundaries are being crossed, or etc. Also, regarding about empathy again, just like in season 1, season 2 also points out that while someone has had a past, you can understand where they're coming from, but that still does not give them an excuse to be an asshole. That is still important. This is where everyone is not special and you are the protagonist of your own life cross. While they may seem like contradictory terms, they're not. If everyone is the protagonist of their own lives, then you are not, once again, special, because everyone is a protagonist of their own life. That is the base standard. So that's how I think Mob Psycho gets around that. And I think it's really cool how those two ideas come and mesh together at the end of season 2. The last message of Mob Psycho that permeates through season 3 is to accept yourself. Mob Psycho does a lot with contradictions, just like how the Body Improvement Club is kind of shown as like this very powerful, like menacing force, but they're really just awesome dudes who just love to work out and help people. Meanwhile, you have Reigen, who lies a bunch and is kind of fraudulent, but once again, still at the end of the day, is a good person and wants to help people. Now we get to Mob. Mob on the outside wants people to learn to accept themselves and to grow and to be better. And sure, he wants that for himself, and he's very easy on people, but he's super hard on himself. I relate quite heavily with this topic because I am a person who expects a lot out of himself. And over the years, you kind of learn that it's not good to reject your shortcomings, because everyone has shortcomings. And you can define that bar of whether or not a coming is short or long. That's a weird phrase. And I am also a very firm believer in pushing forward and growing every single day. So long as you are 1% better than you were yesterday, that's phenomenal, because 365 days later, you're now 365% better than you were at the beginning of the year. That is insane. That is an insane percentage, just to keep that in mind. So while these improvements might seem small, keep it up, just keep it up. And so living in the present has always been very hard for me. I've always been focused on the future and what I can be doing, what I should be doing to prep for this thing in the future, where I want to be. When we should learn to just enjoy the moment and enjoy the present and appreciate ourselves as we are now. Because without ourselves in the past and without ourselves now, we won't be who we are in the future. So I think, love yourselves, appreciate your current self. We've all come a long way, and we're gonna go even further this year. So to a happy 2023, hey, this is our year. For the 15th time, this is gonna be our year. It wasn't last year, it wasn't the year before, but it is definitely this year. Anyways, if you're still watching, thank you so much. I know I haven't posted in a long time. That's my bad. And I know this video isn't as funny as usually is. It's just this show is very near and dear to my heart, and I think it would be disingenuous if I didn't talk about the messaging, what makes me really like it. Sure, I could get into like the slice of life. I just love that idea of slice of life meets absurdism. but it just wouldn't make there wasn't just not much to say. What do you like about Mob Psycho 100? If you've seen it, let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that's all I got. While you're down there, you're already down there, hit subscribe, maybe the like button. Like, just, you know, New Year's resolution, hit the like button on all of Fly Nimbus's videos. That's kind of crazy. That'd be kind of cool. I'd appreciate you. Anyway, that's all I got.